Dustin. Oh God, I'm gonna be such a fucking cunt. I can't pronounce this. Vuong? Jammies! Matcha and coffee? You're crazy.
I'm gonna mix with my finger. Today's beverage, a dirty matcha. Hi guys, it's Dustin. So if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know I talk a lot about friendships. In the past few weeks, I have been meeting a lot.
Sorry. Noted, I've tried it. It tastes like ass. Maybe a little bit louder? Yeah, I'm gonna make it a little louder.
New people. An overwhelmingly large amount of new people. I've been getting introduced to a lot of new people through my friends, and I just find myself in random situations where I'm meeting new people. It's just been a lot of like, nice to meet you. I'm Dustin. Nice to meet you. How are you?
Wait 1 second. Perfect. It's working. Okay.
It's been weird. It's kind of exhausting. It's all very brief, a lot of small talk. I haven't really made any friendships out of them. I just feel like I've been surrounded by such a new group of people lately. How do I say this kindly? They don't feel like real human beings. You know, we all have different stories. We all have different backgrounds, and I feel like everyone—
These are just the normal AirPods. I don't know what generation they are. I don't remember. Sorry.
meaning has just been not very grounded. And somehow I just find myself in these scenarios where I'm surrounded by these people and I start to lose myself a bit. I actually had to like take a week where I just didn't hang out with anybody, stayed at home and focused on myself. I feel like the conversations I was having made me feel like everything was fake. Anyways, this video popped up on my YouTube recommendation page called The Friendship Recession by Richard Reeves. I'll leave a link to it in the description. It was a very interesting video and it sparked the topic today. I think it's just a very prevalent topic in my life, especially right now, and I have a lot of thoughts about it. So what is the friendship recession? I did a quick Google and it says more and more adults are devoid of close friends, thereby having fewer people to rely on during crises and increasing loneliness. So basically, people these days don't got friends, and it's getting harder and harder to make friends. And I know there's statistics about this, but I was too lazy to Google it, but if you ask people how many close friends they have, they probably wouldn't say that many. Now let's get into the reasons why I think there's a friendship recession happening. First of all, I think there's a lot of barriers when it comes to making friends outside of school. I feel like most of us do make our friends in school, people we see every day. I think this is probably more relatable for people who live in the US, but due to poor urban planning, there is not enough walkable communities with good public transportation in cities within the US, which makes it so hard to meet up with people in real life. For example, in LA, it takes at least 30 minutes to meet up with your friends. It's because LA is so overcrowded and there's so many different neighborhoods, it's most likely your friends don't live in the same neighborhood as you, and traffic.
I'm glad that I grew up in New York because I feel like people, oh my God, sorry, I'm fucking with my lights a little bit and just excuse me changing colors. I'm so glad I grew up in New York because I feel like so many people in LA just can't handle like a 30-minute drive. Whereas I used to like have to spend an hour getting to college. You know? So I never care. It's like a 30-minute drive. That's nothing. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, that's all good. The problem is sitting in fucking bumper to bumper traffic. That shit sucks.
To add on to that, it's just a trek to get anywhere in LA and meet up with your friends, and it gets super exhausting having to drive for long periods of time on a daily basis. That's why it's so much easier to make friends in school, because you're in a walkable community with people that you see on a routine basis. Another reason is everything costs money. Concerts, cafes. In LA, you have to pay for parking everywhere you go. Obviously, there's things you can do that don't cost money, but I don't know about you guys, a lot of people in my life don't want to just chill. Like, no one wants to chill these days. Why does no one want to chill these days?
Let's dance! Let's dance!
That's probably one of the culture shifts I had to get used to when living in LA, is that nobody just wants to chill and hang out anymore and just like go to a parking lot and talk or go watch a sunset. It always has to be like something that's worth going to.
Also, to go anywhere, you have to use gas, which costs money. So either way, you're spending money no matter what you're doing.
Where are the down bitches at? I think that's such a good attribute to have, is to not be a party pooper. Just be open and down to hang and do anything. There's also the culture of this generation, and by that I mean like Gen Z and younger people. First of all, people don't text back or call anymore. And I hate the low maintenance friendships that everyone seems to be promoting, because at the end of the day, I think it's just an excuse. You're just lazy. I'm gonna talk more about romantic versus platonic relationships a little later, but you wouldn't say, I want a low maintenance romantic relationship. No one says that. They only say that about friendships.
There's a general understanding that romantic relationships won't be low maintenance because it takes a lot of effort. You go through a lot of hardships, and you're supposed to communicate and work together to maintain a healthy romantic relationship. So why shouldn't we view friendships the same way? Why do we view friendships lesser than, and that it has to be low maintenance?
I understand.
Like, I think that there are some people that can fit into the low maintenance group, but I think when every single one of your friends is a low maintenance friend, I think you should reassess and recognize that maybe it's worthwhile to have a close friend that you actually communicate with. Like, realistically speaking, if you enter any relationships with someone else, now I'm not even talking about necessarily a romantic relationship, like a relationship with another human being, like a friendship, for example. I think that you will run into hardship. You will run into shit not like working the way that you want it to work. Like, your friend is going to do something eventually that bothers you, or you're going to do something that bothers them, right? Because if you spend enough time with someone and you open up with someone and you're yourself with someone, you're going to run into these issues, right? And it feels like a lot of people, this has been like the worst thing about growing up for me. It feels like a lot of people just kind of default to, how do I explain it? Not saying anything and just giving up on the friendship. And it's really fucked up that that happens. It's sad that when it comes to friendships, people just don't try. You know, the number of times that I've tried to be communicative with friends and have gotten nothing in return has been so sad, you know? Like, I've had friends who've done things to me that, like, I that really bothered me, like really, really bothered me, that were, in my opinion, unacceptable things to do. But it wasn't like I wanted to stop being friends with that person. I still wanted to be friends with that person. Like, I still enjoyed hanging out with that person, you know? And when you bring this up to someone, that is sometimes enough to just give up. Just to give up. And it feels like people give up on friendships way faster than they give up on like romantic relationships. Which is so fucked. Because being vulnerable sucks. I think admitting that you're wrong or admitting that you fucked up, it also kind of sucks. It sucks to say that, you know? Because it's like, oh God, I don't want to be the type of person that's an asshole, you know? I had a friend break up because of this like 2 weeks ago. And it's so sad. I've lost so many good friends being the person that won't communicate. And it's like, I would like to think that everyone is capable of, like, I don't know, growing and changing and improving and being the best version of themselves. You know what I mean? That's Fire Jake. Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub, by the way. Thank you. Also, when people feel victimized and they try to use therapy, speak to vindicate themselves of their bad behavior. Oh God, yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah. As soon as you open up and try to be more than surface level friends, they dip because things are too complicated or I'm too busy. Yes. Yeah. In sociology, it could be defined as a state of normalness, disorder, or confusion in society where the standard norms are weaker and unclear. Lack of social or ethical standards can lead to disconnection. Interesting. Let them grow older and realize it's much harder to make new friends when you're past 30. I mean, yeah. I mean, I mean, yeah. Also, in general, which is this, what I'm about to say, I know, you get ready to like put your hands in the air and be like, no way. I feel like a lot of the people who I have had difficulty in friendships with, friendships that have been tumultuous, let's say, where there has been conflict that was not resolved in an ideal manner. Those also tend to be the people that have never been in like a long-term committed relationship. And the friends that I've had that have been amazing friends, that have been great communicative friends, shocker, also probably are very good romantic partners to have because they know how to communicate with people. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are scared of telling and like communicating with other people because they don't want to hurt someone else's feelings and be perceived as like an asshole, I guess, especially when like social rules are so fucked up, you know? Like the social rule behind telling someone if they have something in their teeth, right? As an example, as a small example, I feel like there are instances where you're allowed to tell people that there's something in their teeth, and there are instances that you are not allowed to tell people that there's something in their teeth, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm embarrassing this person in front of me by telling them I see something in their teeth, or like I see something in their nose, you know? And that sucks. Oh, hi, Justin. Once those benefits end, they just move on to being besties with those that benefit them materially. Yeah, and it's really sad. They could also be worried you're going to drop them for being too difficult, which is so stupid, you know? Never be direct. Never open up. If you need to tell someone something, tell a friend to tell them. Yeah, yeah. All the friend groups that I've ever been a part of over the last 15 years of being an adult were the closest when they materially benefit from one another. Also, people who haven't dealt with trauma or close death sometimes can be really ignorant about things. Yeah, and I mean, like, people have done, I feel like, and probably everyone else in chat, people have done things to me that I felt like were unacceptable. Like, I will not put up with that. You know, like, I have enough self-respect that I won't allow someone to use me as like a doormat, right? There is a difference between being a good friend and being like an abused friend. Abused being used very broadly here, okay? But I forgot what I was saying with that. The problem is that when you talk to those people, it's like you're being too difficult, and it's like, what? Me coming to you and saying, "Hey, I know you're not being malicious. I just wanted to talk to you about this idea or whatever," and then having that be something that you are too difficult to deal with is so sad, you know?
Gang gang. Gang gang. Yum. Ice cream so good.
Ice cream's so good. People also don't know that they're being abusive despite the behavior still being malicious. Oh yeah. Like you can also be unaware. You can be clueless. Okay. I have done things to other people and I was clueless. I was so clueless. I've like looking back on it, I'm like, wow, I was such a cunt when I did that. I can't believe it. And I'm glad that the people I was friends with told me I was being a cunt instead of just like thinking about it and like ruminating on it and disliking me because of it. Like they had the emotional maturity to talk to me and be like, hey, this behavior is unacceptable. I do not have an interest in being friends with someone who engages in this behavior. And I think in that moment you should take a step back and be like, yeah, yeah, that behavior was fucked up. I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't know that before. I've learned to cut people loose. If someone isn't matured up, I'm not taking on that labor. Yeah. Have you seen the Glizzy King on TikTok? Yes. All right, let's go back to the video.
That low maintenance friendships are needed sometimes. For example, life gets in the way. Distance, like you might move for a job or something. Even me, I will say, I tend to talk to and hang out more with people who actually live in my vicinity. I talk to people who like live back in my hometown or like elsewhere less because you're not seeing those people as often on a daily basis. So it's just natural to focus on certain friendships.
You should let low maintenance friendships happen naturally. That's usually how a low maintenance friendship becomes a low maintenance friendship, and both parties are aware and understand the dynamics of the friendship, that it's now low maintenance, and it usually happens over time. But I feel like if you expect all your friendships to be low maintenance, it's usually not mutual. All my low maintenance friendships have happened gradually, and there was a mutual understanding of that low maintenance friendship. Does that make sense?
I just get so annoyed when I see those videos that are like, oh, people who are mature enough to have low maintenance friendships and not get angry about blah 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 blah. They're so passive. They make it seem like the other person is immature and wrong, when in reality, without effort, you cannot maintain friendships. And I always hear people, oh, why am I not building a close relationship with people? How do you expect to build close relationships with your friends if you're barely talking to them? Making plans, responding to texts in a timely manner, calling every now and then to check in with your friend. I think that's normal and actually the bare minimum of what a friendship is. It shouldn't be looked at negatively to expect your friends to want to hang out with you. Anyways, I'm against this whole low maintenance friendship things. Having this emphasis on having low maintenance friendships can get toxic, and we should value our friendships and put effort in, you know, these people who you choose to have in your life and that you love.
I also notice a lot of the times the people who say they want low maintenance friendships are very hypocritical, because then they get sad when their friendships aren't as meaningful as they'd like them to be. And again, they're showing no effort in their friendship, and that causes the friendship to be one-sided. I feel like
I think also, I would say less hypocritical and more so that there is some subconscious like coping mechanism that's occurring inside of some of these people, where, what was it that he said that made me...
a lot of they get sad when their friendships aren't as meaningful as they'd like them to be.
I think that there is some level of cope that occurs there where, you know, you want... I'm gonna quote fucking ContraPoints. Please, if you watch my stream, you need to go watch ContraPoints' video on envy, because I reference it at least once a week. It's such a good video. Honestly, we should take a day and rewatch it because it was so good. But what was I trying to say? Right. In her video, she basically talks about how some people use certain lines and phrases, I guess, but it's cope, right? So like admitting... How do I think, like, for example, the best example that everyone can resonate with immediately and everyone knows what I'm talking about, the people who said, haha, while you were talking to women, I studied the blade. And it's like, okay, dude, this is cope. This is, you just didn't get any bitches, so you had to move on to something else. And now you're pretending like the thing that you spent your time on was more important because you don't want to admit that, you know, you get no bitches in your maiden list, right? And I think the same thing occurs there, right? Where with friendships, where I think it's very easy to fall back on the, oh, I'm a low maintenance friend. Like, honestly, just like message me once a week if you want to, or like once a month. Like, I'm just here to chill. But I think that there is still that internal longing for more, but there is a fear of putting in effort. And obviously there's a lot of broad statements that I'm making, to be very clear, and this obviously doesn't apply to everyone. There are some people who their schedules are so busy, they don't have time to maintain a bunch of friendships. Or they're very passionate about something and they don't have time to maintain friendships. That's true. That is true. Yes. But I do think that there is a big portion of people who call themselves like low maintenance, or who say that they want low maintenance. And it's because it's scary to put yourself out there and try and build a stronger friendship with someone. So instead of admitting that and saying like, I'm going to try anyways, and if I get hurt, I get hurt, you embrace that you don't have this. Do you know what I mean? It's scary to put an effort into friendship and then not getting the same back in return because you want to like your friends. You know what I mean? You want to enjoy and like your friends. And when you approach people on something or you open up to someone and you get a bad response, you start to dislike this person. And you don't want to dislike your friends, because if you dislike them, you're not going to want them to be your friends anymore. And it's so fucked, you know? Oh gosh. Let's get back into the video. Have you considered your friends getting in the way of your grind of Baldur's Gate? That's also valid. Okay? That's also valid. But I feel like I text my friends ahead of time to let them know I'm going to be busy doing something. Like all of my close friends, I will message them and be like, "Hey, if I'm hard to reach for the next week, I'm moving. I'm sorry." I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want to hang out. I want to hang out, I swear. I need to finish moving. Or like, "Hey, I'm addicted to Baldur's Gate. If it's important, just text me that it's important. Sorry." Sorry. But I think you can be very open with people. I feel like a good friend will respect you going out of your way to tell them, "I'm going to be busy. I will message you once I'm free again." You know what I mean?
And again, they're showing no effort in their friendship, and that causes the friendship to be one-sided. I feel like a lot of people complain about their friendships when they themselves aren't doing anything to put effort into the friendship. A lot of people think they are, in reality, they're not. It's like how a lot of people wish they got invited to things. Well, do you invite your friends to things?
Also, thing I've noticed with this generation, I say this generation as if I'm not in this generation, but a lot of friendships are transactional. Now, you could look at this in like the typical way where I feel like, oh, you're using someone for something such as work and business, or you know, they have a boat. I think with social media, this has been happening a lot. A lot of people, I think without even realizing it, make friends to fit their aesthetic based on how they look and how they dress and how well you photograph together. Like, have you ever noticed those pictures of groups of friends on Pinterest? Why are they all hot and kind of have the same vibe? Why do they all kind of dress the same? I think you guys get what I'm saying. There's like a little bit of a blurry line because obviously with your friends, you want to have things in common with them. So maybe being into fashion, but it's weird because you just know when you see it when friends are friends because of the aesthetic and they exclude others because they might not be the same vibe as them, even if it's subconscious. There's just something weird about it. I can't pinpoint it, but there is something odd. If I were to like try to join these friend groups, they would not want to be friends with me. It's like kind of pretty privilege. I'm like, wait, do you only be friends with people because they're pretty, or was this a coincidence?
I do understand why this happens. It makes sense. It's like when people of the same socioeconomic level end up being friends. Because they have more in common, they're usually in the same spaces, around the same type of people, doing similar activities. It's the reality. Rich people are usually friends with a lot of rich people. So I guess this kind of can relate back to pretty well-dressed people are going to be friends with pretty and well-dressed people. But it still feels wrong and very exclusive to exclude the opportunity to become friends with these people over a lot of things they can't control, such as how they look or even being well dressed. That's a privilege in itself where you can afford a lot of clothes. You could still have great blossoming friendships with these people even if they don't have those factors.
I really hate the fact that we as a society value romantic relationships over platonic relationships. I think a part of this is because friendships aren't as secure and reliable as romantic relationships. I feel like friendships tend to be a little bit more fleeting. There's no like promise that they'll be there forever, I guess. But with romantic relationships, usually like they've seen the real you. They have unconditional love for you. Not all romantic relationships, but I think it's possible to have a platonic relationship that's just as secure and important as your romantic relationship. But the fact that we drop everything for our significant other bothers me so much. For example, that whole trope that, oh, girl gets a boyfriend, girl doesn't talk to her friends for a while until she breaks up with her boyfriend, and then suddenly she comes back to her friends, and then her friends are mad at her for leaving them. It's that whole stereotype. And I'm not gonna lie, that has happened to me where my friends, they get boyfriends and they just don't hang out with me as much anymore. They don't really check in or talk to me as much anymore. And when I call them, they're usually with their significant other, and you kind of just get put in the back burner, even though you may have been such a good friend, so loyal. You know, we're just as reliable as the significant.
Let me just say, I did not pre-watch this. Okay, I did not pre-watch this at all. All right, I need to be clear about that. All right, I think it's just an experience that a lot of people resonate with, and I think it's something that everyone understands is shitty, but people still do it. You know, like it makes me so angry when it happens, because it's like, damn, we were such close friends. We were talking every day. We were chilling like every other day, hanging out like at least a couple times a week. And suddenly now you don't even respond to text messages anymore. Okay, I mean, it's your life. You can do what you want with it. And realistically speaking, if you're the type of person to drop your friends because you're in a relationship, you're probably not someone I should be friends with. But that sucks. It fucking sucks to happen to. I showed you my loyalty. Please respond. Yeah.
Another, but somehow the romantic relationship always beats the friendship, even if you offer the same amount of security and love. Obviously, there's also the intimacy aspect.
I honestly feel like the lack of that physical intimacy shows how pure a friendship is and how we should value it so much, because you're not there spending time with someone and choosing to have this person in your life because of somebody's body. You are there because you actually love them and their mind and their soul. Part of why people love the romantic relationship is that physical intimacy. You hear all the time people get used for their bodies and stuff like that, and it's just, that's a whole nother topic, but just shows like I just love friendship. I love friendship. Have you guys seen that article about those old ladies who bought a house together? How pure is that? The fact that they have each other and that's all they need, and it's like,
That's so
all you need are your
cute.
girls or your boys or your people. That's it.
Personally, for me, maybe I'm like biased or something because I've never been in a relationship, but I think I would value my platonic relationships with my romantic relationships. It should be 50-50, which I think is fair considering your romantic relationship typically is just one person while you have so many friends. So even putting it 50-50, that's still a lot of percent for one person. I also feel like if a lot of us had friendships that truly fulfilled us, we wouldn't need a romantic relationship as much. If I had
Yes.
a group of friends.
Oh gosh. Has anyone ever had someone in their friend group who like they're just terminally always in relationships? Like they go from like, oh, I'm dating this person now. Oh, okay, great. They're single for like 5 seconds and they're in a relationship again. Serial monogamous. Yeah. Their relationships last about a week. And like the relationships can last anywhere from like a week to like a few months. And they just refuse to be single. And I feel like a lot of that stems from like undervaluing your friends. You know, undervaluing the friendships that you've made. You know what I mean? I think that he is undervaluing romantic relationships in part because he's never had one. Do you have a source on that statement? Do you know this man personally? Do you watch a lot of his videos? I don't remember. Did he say earlier in the video that he's never been in a relationship? Oh, did he say that? Okay, never mind. I didn't hear it. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. As someone who's been in like
5 months of
long-term.
doing morning time theft at work socialism DNM buff.
Also, thank you, tax account. Thank you for the 5 months. Thank you. He said I might be biased because of that. Okay, sorry. I wasn't paying attention. ADHD brain, okay? But I don't know. As someone who's been in very long-term relationships, I feel like I don't value my relationship more than my friendships because I assess everything. But maybe like, so let me wait, hold up. I have to be very clear about the sentences that I'm saying in the order that I'm saying them and why I'm saying them. If I am dating someone, it is because I find their personality to be near perfect. Obviously, opinions can change. You can learn new things about people. People can change, etc. But that is like the core. Core to any relationship that I ever enter, like any romantic relationship that I ever enter, is that I have to like your personality the most out of everyone I know. Right? In that sense, the person I am dating is only more valuable than the rest of my friends because the person I'm dating is the best friend that I have. And in relationships that I've been in where that wasn't the case, I stopped those relationships. I don't want to date someone who's not my best friend, you know? And so in that front, if I met other people who exhibited all the same traits, who were excellent and great in all the ways that my partner was, I would commit almost equal levels of attention and time and effort into my friendship and my relationship, you know? My best friend is who I'm most romantically involved with. Yeah. It's like a bestie that you're romantically attracted to. Yeah. And I mean, obviously there are people who don't get in relationships on that basis, but I disagree. I think you should, the if you're monogamous or non-monogamous or whatever, if you're entering a romantic relationship with someone, I think they should be your best friend. You know? You guys should be like this. Agree, but my point is more that you share more in a romantic relationship, not just physically, that in a friendship. Ooh, what do you mean? Because I'm reading your earlier message. You said, I started dating someone that had bad breath constantly, and it really sucks to tell them, but they were pretty cool with it. I didn't tell them immediately. I had to gain a bit of trust. So I want to know if you're referencing that or you're referencing something else. Hi, Naomi. Parents have been married 60 years and they're definitely besties. That's so cute. That is so cute. Basically, my point is, I think everything that you share with a partner, you can share with another person. You can share with your friends. I don't think that there's anything that exists in a relationship that you could never share with another person, you know? And I mean, just thinking about it in my life, like there has never been something that I felt like I was sharing with my partner that I was sharing with no one else, right? Like I open up to my partner just as much as I open up to my friends. How much I open up to you is more so dependent on like how close we are, you know? Honestly, my metric, I don't know if this is a good enough metric or a bad metric, but my metric on how close I am in a friendship with someone is how high I'm willing to get around them. Because I turn into a fucking freak. I turn into a socially inept freak when I get high. So it is only something that I trust to do with people that I am very close friends with. Like I forget how to act. I become a lot more blunt in a way that is not acceptable socially. Like normally when you're sober, you know, you might be hanging out with someone and you'd be like, hey, there's something in your teeth. Just like, yeah, just right there. When I'm high, it's like, there's something in your teeth loudly for everyone else to hear. And it's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oops. And I'm not noticing it because I'm way too high. You know? So I feel like I feel like being high around other people is something reserved only for people I'm very close to. Okay. I think you've been that blunt with chat before. Yes. Oh, okay. Back to the video. I also want to watch the original video. Blunt, solid pun. Nice. Get it. I get it. That was unintentional.
That I loved so much and truly fulfilled me and were always there for me.
Yeah, when I'm super high, I swear my mouth is just attached to my thoughts and I say exactly what I'm thinking. And sometimes you're not supposed to say exactly what you're thinking all the time. Okay? Maybe sometimes there are things you shouldn't say. And sometimes there are ways to say things that are better. Like, maybe you shouldn't tell your friend, why do you wear that shirt? It looks ugly. You know? But maybe you should instead say, oh, what do you like about that shirt? I see you wear it all the time. You know? And so, yeah, I cannot trust myself around other people for that.
I feel like I wouldn't have this desire to be in a romantic relationship. Right now I do, because I guess I just don't have that strong group of friends. Because I feel like a friendship can offer everything a romantic relationship can, other than the intimacy part. Or maybe the intimacy part too. I don't know, y'all. I don't know what y'all do. My last point I wrote down, with social media, the art of talking and conversation is gone. People do not like talking to people anymore. People no longer just talk to each other on the street or in the grocery store. People just don't initiate conversation anymore. And
That's also, this is third place stuff. This is not having a third place. You know?
Reliance on social media and texting and being able to contact.
Oh, if you're like me, being high is cathartic because when you're sober, you obsess over the right way to say things you're thinking. Yeah. Basically outside of maybe 3 or 4 people, like 3 people, outside of 3 people, anytime I send a message ever, I look it over about 10 times before I send it. And in real life, the same thing happens in my brain. It's like, nope, not like that. Nope, not like that. Nope, 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 nope. Like I will spend 10 minutes crafting a sentence, one sentence to send because I want it to be the perfect sentence, which is not healthy, but that's where we're at. Yeah.
Anybody at any time, anywhere.
Back in the day, they had to talk to people. That was the only way they were ever gonna meet new people. Also, they were probably bored as hell because they didn't have phones to rot their brains. But now we have this safety net of being able to find and talk to people online. For example, if you were to see someone cute in person, back in the day, it was now or never. They had to go talk to them. But now we could find out their name and then just search them up and text them, hey, instead of saying hi to them right then and there. We no longer have that like push and that like now or never, I'm not gonna have the chance again.
Personally, I hate texting. I hate the fact that the conversation takes so long to progress. Like you have to wait for them to respond. You can't read into their emotions and how they're saying something. I'm much more of a call and FaceTime person. Everyone expects everyone else to initiate conversation, and it's unfair. If everyone just made an effort and everyone initiated conversation and then there's a balance, there'd be like so many more friendships flourishing.
Dude, I love my friends that just cold call me. That they'll just call me randomly, like they're walking their dog or, you know, they're running an errand and they want some company. It's like, oh yeah, what do you want to talk about? Yeah, let's talk, let's chat. It's great. I mean, I also, when I was growing up, I was talking to my friends on like the home line phone for like 2-3 hours at a time. You know, like it took me a long time to get to the point where I was a decent texter. Because I basically told people, if you don't call me, I'm not responding. I would go days without responding to someone because I don't want to text.
I wanted to end this video
Hello, chat. Hi, chat.
on tips and advice on how to make friends. It's important to understand that there are different types of friendships for the different aspects of your life. There's your work friends, there's your acquaintances that you run into here and there, there's your fun friends that you know you'll always have a good time with, but you might not be super close and have like deep conversations with, or there's your super close friends that you can share anything with. Like there's so many different categories of friendships, so it's okay to not have all your friends be your super close friends. My first tip is learn how to be a conversationalist and talk to everyone. If you talk to everybody, there's a higher chance of you meeting new people and developing friendships. Even just making eye contact with someone and smiling at them. I'm personally working on this with my body language. I've been told physically I'm a bit standoffish and unapproachable, but once people start talking to me, I'm like an open book. So that's something I'm working on to be less intimidating to approach, be very open instead of like closed off, not being afraid to make eye contact with people, like smile at them. Next tip is to join clubs or be a regular at a place. Show up somewhere consistently where you can see the same people
Third place.
on a routine basis. This could be a dance class, a knitting club, a book club, a gym, because eventually after seeing someone for so long, you're gonna talk to them and have conversation. And it also helps that you're doing something that you have interest in because that's common ground. Next tip, which seems super obvious, but genuinely ask people to hang out. I've had so many interactions where people are like, we should hang out, but they don't ever actually hang out with me. So if you find someone that you want to hang out with, genuinely ask them to hang out, pick a day, pick a time,
Burning
make
Man is
a
not a
plan
third place.
and set it. Living
This
in
has
LA,
been
that
a
is such a
PSA.
norm and it's so annoying, especially when someone asks me to hang out and then I try to set a time and day and then they just don't respond. They ghost me. And I'm like, you're the one that asked me to hang out in the first place.
I do have a rule with
Yeah.
myself called the 3-try rule, where if I want to try to become someone's friend and hang out with someone, I will try 3 times to make plans with them. If after 3 times they had to cancel, they failed to reschedule, for whatever other reason, I will stop even attempting trying to hang out with them until they ask me to hang out. Because I think after 3 tries, like, you gotta take the hint.
Lastly,
Everything he just said was so fucking facts. So facts. My therapist suggested this to me as well when I told her I've been freaking out over relocating from where I live now next year. Everything he said was giga facts. Oh my God. I have to say, I spend hours planning ways to hang out with my friends. I put in a lot of effort into my friendships. I find my friendship to be something very valuable, because I put a lot into friendships. I put a lot into other people. If I like you and I consider you a good friend of mine, I will put effort in. I will put infinite amounts of effort in. Once it is not being reciprocated, I pull back. And then, and like, if it's still not being reciprocated, I'll pull back more and pull back more. Like, I will treat you as best as I can until you give me a reason to not do that, right? And I would say, please teach me boundaries. You speak of, Denims. I'm such a doormat. I feel like it's like I got really bullied as a kid, and it forced me to learn how to set up boundaries because I didn't ever want to be treated like that again. And some people will treat you like shit infinitely. Like they do not give a fuck. They will treat you like garbage forever because you're not calling them out on it. Why would they change their behavior, right? Why would they respect you if you are not showing them that you respect yourself, right? You have to put in work in friendships just like anything in life. You have to work for things in life, and we message like things in life should be easy. Took me so long to learn this. Yeah. That sounds like prep work for D&D. You're like the dungeon master of friendships. Well, like, for example, I was like, I really wanted to hang out with my friends. And I had been talking about wanting to hang out with my friends for forever. And so I was like, well, okay, that's it. I'm doing it. And I messaged like 10 people. And I was like, hey, I'm planning laser tag for this Saturday. Would you like to come? Hey, I'm planning laser tag for this Saturday. Do you want to come? Hey, I send out all those messages. And then some of those people are going to reply late. Some of them are going to reply immediately. And then I have to schedule a time. And then I have to call like the actual place and make sure that I can still book that time. You know, like that all takes effort and energy, and like sending a good message to someone that isn't just like laser tag Saturday ? It's like, hey, me and like 5 people are going to go doing laser tag. If you want to come, it should be really fun. You know, like you want to send like a personalized message to every single person. So that takes like time and effort, especially if you're generally the person that's doing a lot of that. Like, I wanted to hang out with my friends. I need something to do to hang out with them. Okay, I will plan a hangout at my place, right? So that means I have to clean my entire apartment. I have to do all of this messaging. I should get snacks, pick out a bunch of different things that we can do. So like I have like some board games available. I've got card games available. I've got movies like already not torrented, smile, shows available. Like everything is ready to go, you know? And that's like a lot of people don't recognize that sometimes you have to put in all of that effort, you know? Sometimes you have to be like the glue that holds together your friends, you know? But for me, I'm the same way. If someone else cancels on me too many times and they are never trying to reschedule, I'm not going to reach out to you anymore. It's a waste of my energy and time, right? When I cancel on people, if I actually wanted to hang out with that person, if I don't want to hang out with them, I'm like, oh, sorry, I can't make it. But I would never agree to hang out with someone that I don't want to. So actually, that's a lie. And if I ever cancel on someone ever, I take it like so seriously. I will like send like a paragraph in response. I'll be like, hey, sorry for reaching out so late. I just wanted to say I'm not going to be able to make it this Saturday, and it makes me really sad. I really wish I could have hung out. If you want, what are you doing next Wednesday? Do you want to get some coffee? Because I feel like when you're on the opposing side of that, that feels really good. You know what I mean? It feels really good to see someone canceled, but they are asking you, they're saying, I still want to hang out. Here, I'm making the plans as an apology for not making it to your plans, right? I cannot tell you how many people ask me to DM a D&D game and then bail every session is one of the most infuriating things. Yes. Wrangling people is you know? I've become the worst friend since COVID. I bailed on so many people because I'm afraid to go out. My friends understand, but I feel terrible. I feel like that's almost a different perspective. Do you know what I mean? I feel the same way, yet canceling plans is like an opiate. Yeah. I also have a rule that I will never say yes to something unless I'm absolutely sure that I'm going to go. Right? Or I think it's almost mandatory for me to go. Right? Like a friend of mine was having a birthday party and it was their last day in town. And I'm like, I really don't want to fucking go. Oh my God, I don't want to go. I have to fucking wake up at 7 in the morning tomorrow. And this party starts at fucking 11. Like, I do not want to go. But I was like, I agreed to do it. I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? And for everyone else, in other instances, I will tell them, hey, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be available. Let me get back to you. Which is something I've had to learn how to do, because prior to that, I would just not respond. Which is a bad thing to do, to not respond. Or to say, sure, but you don't mean it. Terrible. Terrible idea. Not a good idea. Don't do it, guys. Don't do it. It's also really great to see someone make the effort when you're normally the one doing all the plans. Yeah.
Denim, you sound like a really great friend.
Oh.
I have a friend who's similar in how he maintains his friendships and how he expects the other person to reciprocate. And he's literally my best friend because of it. Makes me feel so good.
Oh, Kira. I'm so happy for you. Thank you. Yeah, I value a lot of my friendships. I'm an asshole. I never realized this till now. Honestly, I don't do anything for my friends and vice versa, really. Yeah, I don't know. I view my friends the way that like I said, I view my friends. I aim to treat my friends the way that I treat my relationship, like a romantic relationship, you know? Like I will go out places. And if I see something that I think a friend would like, I get it for them. And I'm like, hey, I thought you would like this. You know? And I feel like that's what a friendship should be. You know what I mean? I prefer the friends that I can go 6 months without speaking to, and when we meet up, it's like no time has passed. I feel like those friends are important too, but I think you need close friends too. I have to learn how to say I'm not sure. I flake on my friends because of migraines and depression. I feel horrible because of it. Then don't agree until the day of. Just tell them, hey, I need to see if my schedule is free. And if you're not feeling well, it's okay to make excuses. You know what I mean? Living in an area where everybody just hangs out with the same friends from elementary school. Yeah. How do you navigate friend gifts? I think the rule is just like, don't give anything that you would be sad if you didn't get like something back. You know? Like I've gifted stuff to friends. Like when I went to Anime Expo, I got a bunch of extra posters for friends. I got a couple people posters, and one of these people, I'm pretty sure they lost it, you know? And it's like, okay, well, I don't really care. Like when I bought that gift, I bought it with no anticipation that I would get something in return. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the key. The key is just don't ever like put yourself in a situation where you expect something very specific, you know? I've been in a relationship for 13 years. I don't have friends, but I wouldn't trade my wife and son for a dozen close friends. But why do you have to trade? Why can't you have both? Why can't you have like a wife and a kid that you love and also friends that you love? And also friends that you and your wife love, and friends that you and your wife and your kid love. Imagine how cool it would be if you had a buddy who could come over when you're watching like SpongeBob with your kid and you two can like hang out. Wouldn't that be cool? You know? And it's a good way to like have your kids socialize with new people in a nice, safe way. You know, like you can have, you don't have to choose, you know? You can do both. You can like, yeah, you know, what sort of friends would you ever want to trade your wife and kids with anyways? Yeah, because I would never trade my relationship with friends. I would never do that, ever, ever, ever. That sounds silly. But anyway, we're going to go back to the video.
It's good to remember friendships come in seasons, and that's okay. I've had my fair share of dating friendships and friendship breakups. I think it's a natural part of life. I mean, you break up with a lot of romantic relationships, it's normal to break up with normal friendships. You can try saving it, but I think at some point you just have to let it go. Just enjoy the last moments you have in the friendship and just appreciate the time you did have with them and the lessons you learned and the memories you made. I think that's super important.
Another tip on how to make friends I forgot to mention, have your friends introduce you to their friends. If you already have one friend and you already like them as a person, you'll probably end up liking their friends as well. People's friends are a reflection on who they are. Also, while doing some reading about the friendship recession, I found out about this thing called the 11-3-6 rule. Apparently, it takes about 11 different encounters that are each 3 hours long over a period of 6 months to turn an acquaintance into a real friend. So maybe take that into consideration. I've never heard of it before, but it sounds really interesting.
Anyways, that is all my thoughts on the friendship recession. Let me know any of your takes.
That's so good. That was a really good video. Let me send it in chat again, please. I hope that that's the right link. Let me just double check in case it's the wrong link. Here, sorry. I don't know if that's the right link, but this one definitely is.